Hey there. Welcome to Toy Talk with Mike and Chad, episode 48. I'm Mike.
I'm Chad.
And the toys that we're going to be talking about today is a little bit of a mixed bag. We'll call it one of our miscellaneous episodes, but it's largely Ninja Turtle based. And to kick it off, you just got some brand new Ninja Turtles.
I did.
In today, which you saved to unbox.
I did. It's exciting.
So I'll give you the floor. Let's see what you got.
So I don't know if you're familiar with the Neca line that just started coming out. It's the Eastman and Laird's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles line. It's based off the Mirage comics, the original.
Well, I'm familiar with the line, but I never read the original Mirage comics.
Yeah.
So I see this character. I don't know who he is or anything about him.
So his name is Savanti Romero, which I'll get Mike to insert a couple screenshots there.
A goat man?
Yeah, he kind of looks like a goat. He's a time-traveling demon lord. I had to Google him. I can't remember him from the Mirage comics. Mind you, I read them when I was like 10, 11.
Yeah.
So it's been a minute. But he's got like really hairy legs. So he kind of looks like a goat, I guess. But he's one of their prime enemies in the comic book line.
My thought is, I find the NECA does a really good job usually of capturing that comic book look.
Yeah.
Like they do that really heavy shading.
Yeah.
Now, I've never seen this character before, but looking at the artwork on the box, I don't feel they did a very good job with him.
That's the original thought I had. Because it looks like a T, but it's kind of like an Uzi T, and it's greenish, and that one is yellow.
Oh, like on his chest.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, because he's got this green magical... He's got a little staff, and it looks like there's some green, an effect to put around it. So there, I don't know if that's supposed to just be green reflecting off of it. Right. But his face, he looks like Popeye with horns.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I don't think that looks like... I don't think the image on the box looks like Popeye with horns, but the toy does.
Yeah, I can see that.
Give him a little hat.
I'm not going to unsee that now.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Regardless, I am a fan of the NECA Turtles toys because, like you said, they do a very good job on this on this line. The last one that I got, which would have, I guess, been the first one, was the Foot Enforcer. So he was kind of like the guy with the shredder helmet head with
right. So you got that one already?
Yeah.
Did we talk about him on this?
I think we might have, but I don't think I... Yeah, we did. Because I brought him over. And then the little Splinter. So...
Right. I know you got him. I don't remember us talking about him, but...
Pretty sure I did.
Yeah, we probably did.
We do so many of these guys. It's also been a very long week for me. So, but I generally really enjoy this, even though he looks like Popeye with horns now.
Where did you get this guy for starters?
So I got this guy at my local comic shop that I shop at, Giant Robot Comics. So I've been on a really big Turtles kick.
Yeah.
Lately, I don't know, just all the nostalgia and everything, and the newer movies that have come out, and a couple of years ago, my sister for Christmas got me the complete animated series on DVD. Mm-hmm. This was before Blu-rays really became a thing for box sets, but it's in a turtle van, so it's super cool. That's cool. So I was watching some of those and got right back into it. Anyways,
and this guy never made it into the Playmates or the cartoon or anything, right?
He didn't.
Right.
So it's kind of an original one for me, anyway. But yeah, I guess at the comic shop they didn't order any of them because nobody knew who the hell he was. Okay. But when I went in and asked for a couple things, Daryl was like, "Oh, well, we actually have this character, but nobody ordered him." I was like, I vaguely remember him, so I'll take him.
I actually forgot until just now. I'm kind of surprised I haven't heard from my brother, because he works over near your comic shop, Giant Robot Comics. But I go to Strange Adventures, another comic book shop. Anyway, Daryl at your shop, they've taken all kinds of used toys, and it's frustrating because he's always posting things on Instagram, like all kinds of cool toys come in there, but people snag them.
Yeah, it's like they sit there and wait.
Yeah, like I had a frustrating one yesterday because he posted.
Was it the Masters of the Universe?
Well, yeah, he posted a picture of there was probably 20 Masters of the Universe reaction figures.
Yeah, and
I have a pretty large collection of them already. And I would have loved to fill some holes because he's like, I just had a bunch of Masters of the Universe reaction traded in, $5 each. And I was fortunate enough, I saw the post and I was like, oh God, when did he post this? And it said 1 minute ago. And I was like, nobody's commented yet. So I ran downstairs to check my reaction figure collection to see who I was missing. That took me all of 30 seconds. I was like, okay, I need Man-at-Arms, I need Triclops, and so I was like, I picked up my phone again to say, I want this character, this character, this character.
Gone.
Somebody commented, I'll take all those Masters of the Universe. And he was like, okay. And I was like, God damn it. So I missed them all. But, all that to say, so he posted a bunch of Transformers.
Yeah.
And, again, I see Transformers that he posts all the time. I always see ones that I want. I always miss out on them. But he posted, there was probably 4 different pictures with 10 Transformers in each one. And I saw there was already 17 comments. So everybody was picking away I want that one, I want that one, I want that one. And the one that I wanted wasn't spoken for. So I said, can I get Ransack? And he said, yeah, I'll put it aside. And so I tasked my brother, Doug, today. I said, can you go to Giant Robot so I don't have to drive all the way over there? And can you grab Ransack for me today? And I'm just realizing he hasn't called me. It's 9 p.m. right now when we're doing this. So it's kind of weird that I haven't heard from him. But hopefully he remembered to go get Ransack.
Well, they probably held him. Regardless.
Yeah, they're good. They seem to hold. They hold stuff for you forever, right? So.
Well, they've cut down on that because too many people. Were abusing that and
they probably
letting it sit for months. Specifically around this time of year when it's Christmas and people are needing stuff put on hold. It's really funny though because I saw that Masters of the Universe comment and the thread and I was going to tag you in it, but. I remember talking with you about this before, and you're like, well, I don't usually collect reaction figures if I'm collecting, the bigger line. It depends what the line was. And I was like, well, I really should comment.
I think that's more true of Funko Pops.
Funko Pops.
I used to buy, G.I. Joe Funko Pops, Masters of the Universe Funko Pops, and I had to put a stop to it because, for one, I have way too many Funko Pops. And it's just why do I need to buy these toy versions of He-Man and Skeletor when I already have toy versions of He-Man and Skeletor? So I try to keep Funko Pops more to things that don't typically get action figures, bands and maybe movies that are a little bit more obscure. So if I get the characters from the Blade Runner movie or if I get the Green Day guys, those aren't things you're likely to get in action figures. Yeah. But I just can't buy Spider-Man, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Pops anymore. So that's probably what you're thinking of. I would have liked to have those reaction figures of He-Man.
Damn it. So, okay. I'll start tagging you from now on when I see stuff because I'm usually able to see this right away and I don't know. Yeah. What I find works best is if it's something hot or I know that it's going to go quick, I'll call them. I'll call them before you can post because sometimes they don't check it right away and they'll go by the first person that comments on it. Yeah. So, because that's happened to me a few times and I've been sour that I didn't get something.
Well, there was another one. This wasn't as important to me, but I'm not a big Beatles fan per se. Are you? I don't know. No. And yet I love...
Highly overrated.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but I love the animated movie The Yellow Submarine. Yeah. I saw that when I was very young and it actually scared me a little bit because there's do you know the movie? Yeah. And the people turn to stone and everything and there's guys dropping big apples and crushing people. It was kind of scary. And it was also very psychedelic. And when I was that young, I didn't really understand what psychedelic meant. I was just this is a very weird cartoon.
Yeah, it's meant for a trip.
Yeah, and as I've gotten older, I still love it, but I have a different appreciation for it. And I do love all the songs. That's really what elevates it, is all these Beatles songs. So even though I don't really go deep on their catalog, any song that appears in that Yellow Submarine movie, I love them. Anyway, so Giant Robot posted, they had a bunch of the McFarlane Beetle figures that are 20 years old. Yeah. And I've thought about buying those things many times over the years. Sometimes I see one pop up on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm like, well, I don't want just Ringo. You know, you kind of need the whole set. So Giant Robot had posted like the entire set. They had all the Beatles in both uniforms, and they had all the bad guys. And I was like, and he was like, they were $15 each, which is a good price for those things. And I was like, do I say I want them all, or do I say I want just these couple specifics? And I was like, maybe I'll go with the 4 Beatles in the one uniform, and then I think I'll get the Blue Meanie and the Flying Hand guy. I really like him. And like literally as I was typing it, somebody's like, can I get all the Beatles? And he's like, I'll set them aside. And I was like,
son of a...
I know. So I just like, both of those things I missed by mere seconds.
So they actually post the days that they accept trade-ins. And I believe it's Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
So I should just sit by my phone on those days.
Because it has to be Daryl, the owner, or Jay, the guy with the like beard and the kind of like mullet.
I like how that was the sign language for beard. It's like,
just
go with the beard.
He's got the beard and the mullet. Those two are the ones that accept the trade-ins. So Monday, Wednesday, Fridays.
All right.
But yeah, I'll start tagging you. But
doesn't matter.
If you do see something, I'd recommend calling first because, like I said, I've missed.
I'm used to it now. It's been years of getting burned, missing things. So I just whatever. Anyway, we've gotten off track. Back to the Ninja Turtles. You've got a box. You haven't opened it yet.
I haven't opened it yet. So this bad boy has been... When did that sale start? Like 2 weeks ago? I feel like it was around my last payday.
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks ago now. Because like I've had the figures already for like a week or two. But yeah, Big Bad Toy Store, where we buy a lot of... I buy a lot of my toys. And I think we might have even talked... I think we were going to talk about the sale.
We talked about the sale, and I said I wasn't sure. Because we filmed the last episode just as the sale started, and we talked about one of the guys.
Yeah, well, whatever. So they had a sale on a whole bunch of Super 7 Ultimate figures. Ultimate figures... I really like them. I think they're really nice. Like, they have some quality control issues. Sometimes you get loose joints. Sometimes this, sometimes that. But overall, I think the Ultimates are really nice figures. The problem is, they're $55 American. And so in Canada, they cost us $75 to $80. And then when you get the bigger figures, they get even more expensive.
And then you get dinged with shipping.
Yeah, so then with the shipping costs and customs. And when we order stuff from the States, we don't always get hit with customs fees. But the larger the box, the more likely it is to happen. And Ultimates come in such big boxes that when you order 2 or 3 of them in a row, the box is going to be like this big. And of course, you're going to get dinged like on customs. I've had to pay upwards of $100 at the door for customs. So it makes Ultimates very hard to collect. But Big Bad Toy Store had a sale where they were like 65% off. And
hard to say no to that.
It was pretty hard to say no. So yeah, I had bought just one.
Yeah, it was
Slash. And then you bought a couple.
Yeah. So this is my second experience with Big Bad Toy Store. The first was that crazy 112 Batman that they sent me the wrong one for. And it was a whole big production. And
I forgot, I did buy 2 Ultimates, but one of them my wife is gifting me for Christmas. So
yes.
So we'll talk about that one after the holidays. But yeah, so I have Slash in hand. And now you've got an order here, and let's see what you got.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. So this box showed up yesterday, but because I was at work, they sent it to the post office, and I had to work and couldn't get there in time. So, opening this big box... Comes in this nice little mailer box. So, as you can see from the front, I got Slash. I'll just open him up now.
You're giving them a lot of credit with their eyeballs. I can't read that.
Slash. Yeah, so it comes in this sick box.
Yeah, now this is a character... When this toy first came out, I think it was probably last year. Maybe it was even just early this year. I don't really remember. But I really wanted this figure. I was really tempted by it. But again, it was just hard for me to justify the like $75, $85 price tag, and I didn't. So to get him, we paid $19.99 American for this figure.
Yes.
Which works out to like under $30 Canadian.
Yeah, and the cool thing with this is this is actually cheaper than the standard NECA figure that it's not the Eastman and Laird line, but it's the NECA generic brand.
Well, this had worked out to be cheaper than like even a Marvel Legend that you would buy at Walmart or something. Like we got these for basically dirt cheap.
Yeah. So here's Slash. Mike has an unboxed one.
Yep. So
we can show, but
I'll shoot some footage and I'll splice them in. But yeah, so I got Slash a week or two ago.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you're not going to bother tearing your guy open right now. But
I love new box smell though.
Yeah, the boxes are nice, but I've already destroyed mine.
Yeah. Anyways, this guy's kind of cool. So he was one of my favorite characters growing up, and like I would have never paid full price. Like I have a hard time paying full price for these because of the conversion rate and everything. But at $19.99 American, I just couldn't say no. So. Yeah, I was debating on buying one, buying two, didn't really know, and then I said, you know what, I'm going to treat myself. So I bought a Slash. Guy's awesome. He looks cool. He comes with an extra head. I'd probably display him with this head.
Yeah, so that's the scowling, like open mouth, and he's got one where his mouth is
like
more
the crazy
closed with his teeth kind of showing on the side. There,
yeah, he's super cool.
A bunch of weapons. So I've got him holding two of his blades. He's got another like sai
on the back,
tucked into his belt.
He's got some ninja stars.
Ninja stars that are removable. He's got some grenades that clip onto his belt. And then he's got a bunch of extra hands. He's got a big mace, or whatever you call that big club weapon. And then he has all those weapons again in solid pink, which is to replicate the old vintage toy that this is homaging.
Yeah. So this is a great figure. I love him. I'm excited to get home and open mine and take some shots.
Now, there's a bunch of good Slash toys out there. I have two Slashes in my collection currently, which I have, and they're all from NECA. So,
that was the struggle.
So I have two. I have NECA based on the 80s cartoon, and I don't really like that Slash very much.
I'm not a fan of
It's
that.
a nice toy, but the character looks like a doofus. He's got kind of like buck teeth. And, and then I have another version from NECA based on his video game appearance.
Yeah,
and
which is far superior.
Yeah, that figure's awesome. He looks really cool.
It's the Turtles in Time one, right?
Yeah, I believe so. And then there's another NECA one that I don't have, which I think is based on the Mirage comic book. And that looks really cool too, but I've had a hard time justifying saying, like, I've already got two Slashes. Do I really want to get this one and the other one? Because both of those have been on my like want list. So now that I've got him, I don't know if that's less reason or more reason to buy that last one I want. And he's on sale too right now.
I know. I got paid again today, and I think that sale ends tomorrow.
Yes, Cyber Monday or something.
Yeah, I got an email from Big Bad Toy Store today saying last chance for like Ultimate figures. So
now,
I think that might have been the same thing.
You had asked me what I thought of this guy before you had ordered yours, and I did tell you it's really nice. But one of the things that he complained is like this hand just is.
That's super annoying.
I know, like because he has interchangeable hands, so that's good that they pop out with some ease. But you don't want them to just fall out when he's just standing there, and like that. There's hardly any clip to that. Maybe he's got another hand that'll stay in better. But this is what I'm talking about. Sometimes there's quality control issues. These would be amazing figures if they could fix all these little problems.
Like, and again, that's my problem. Why I would not usually buy an Ultimate, because you've had such bad experiences with, like the Transformers ones, for example, Optimus Prime. How his shoulder, you really can't articulate his shoulders. His arms don't move because of the shoulder pads and other loose joints. Like, I feel like once they stopped making them to order, that's when the production kind of went downhill.
I don't know. Like, they've always had issues. From the very first line they did, which was they took over Masters of the Universe from Mattel. And there was issues with that because they get you to pre-order based on digital computer renders.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like expected almost that they're not going to look exactly like the digital renders, but it really pisses people off when you show an amazing digital render, and then when it arrives at their door, you know, a year and a half later, is like substantially
it's
less.
Like Lino.
Yeah, well, Lino broke for me right out of the box. That was his.
Or not Lino. They changed the color of him.
Tiger.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really necessarily going to say this, but so yeah, I really wanted the Thundercats Tigra figure. Yeah. The pre-order looked amazing.
Yeah.
But then when I started showing up online, and he was this bright orange, and he looked really stupid, I was like, I don't want that toy anymore, which is a shame. Anyway, a couple of months later, they released a Big Bad Toy Store exclusive translucent version of Tigra, because he was able to turn invisible in the cartoon. Anyway, that's the other figure that I ordered that my wife is getting me for Christmas.
Right.
So I will get that Super 7 Tigra. And the fact that he's clear, that solves the problem of the bad paint job. So I'm excited to get that figure. But yeah. So let's move on. You've got another figure there?
I do have another figure, and it is one that I'm really excited about. It is the Foot Soldier. So,
this guy was also $19.99?
he was $29.99. $29.99. Still a great deal. So, I guess for me, Foot Soldiers are like the equivalent of your Merman or your Stormtroopers.
Okay.
Like anything Foot Soldier. And I don't actually have any Foot Soldier figures. My vintage ones disappeared, thanks, Mom. And they really stopped making them for a while.
Do you find it weird that there's a ninja clan made up entirely of robots?
Do you want to hear something really stupid?
Sure.
I didn't actually know they were robots until I was about 25.
Because don't they cut them in half in the cartoon?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You just thought they were killing guys left, right, and center?
Just never really thought about it. And then, like, even playing the video games. Yeah, so Foot Soldier box. Super cool. Got the mask on the front. Turtles on the back. Open it up. This guy looks great.
Yeah, so based on the vintage toy from the 80s, very, very reminiscent of those toys.
Like, I think for me, what brought me back into the Turtles kick was the Switch game, Shredder's Revenge, that was released about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. It's basically like the Turtles 2 arcade game from the 90s, so I'm psyched to get this guy. I was thinking about actually going back and ordering another Ultimate. Depends on what the bank account says tomorrow after the rent comes in.
It's so tempting with that price point, because there's a few others that I would like.
But the shipping.
The shipping does suck.
I don't want to ship for one guy.
Yeah. Well, if you decide to go back tomorrow, maybe I'll take a look at that Slash figure, like the NECA Slash.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Because I could buy him. I'm going to have a frog in my throat now. I could buy him too. But, yeah, this is such a great figure.
I see this. Now, my recollection, I think this looks better than the vintage one. Because
the vintage one almost looked like an ape.
Well, that was the weird thing that I was going to say, is that, like, the Ultimates figures are based on the vintage toys, but they've got more posability, they're bigger, they've got more detail, and more paint, all that sort of stuff. The vintage Foot Soldier, he was kind of sculpted in a hunch, so he looked like he was a gorilla walking on his, like, knuckles, which, again, it's like, this is a robot who's a ninja who's like a monkey. Like, it's just, like, it's hard to wrap my head around the thought process.
Robot ninja monkey.
So just the simple fact that this guy can now stand upright, which he's doing in the package right now, makes him look better. Like, he does. Like, it's cool that you could still hunch him over if you wanted to once you open him up. But I don't know why you would. I never understood the hunching ninjas. So yeah, he looks cool.
One thing I will say is, I don't know if they plan on doing it, but in the games, they had different colored Foot Soldiers. I hope that maybe they start making different versions.
But see, that's the kind of thing where reaction figures are good for that.
Yeah.
Because they're a lot cheaper. They're still too expensive, but they're a lot cheaper than trying to buy this guy again Because at like $75, just to get him again in orange or get him again in green and stuff, it's expensive.
It is very expensive, but this guy is super cool. I'm happy with this purchase.
If I can go back to Slash again for one sec.
Absolutely.
It's great that we got these guys on sale, but now that I have them in hand and I'm enjoying them as much as I am, it sucks because it's kind of reawakening the desire to get the glow-in-the-dark version that's available.
Yeah.
And if I do that, the glow-in-the-dark one is still full price.
Yeah.
If anything, I think he's a little bit more expensive than this guy at his standard price. I think he's $65 US or something. So
yeah, and they had a battle damaged foot soldier too,
and a glow-in-the-dark one of him as well.
Yeah, glow-in-the-dark, like a half a face, and you could see like the robotic gears and everything.
And Super 7 does some really nice glow-in-the-dark figures. Like I have the Ultimates, Baxter Stockman, and Mutagen Man in glow-in-the-dark, and they're pretty cool.
So believe it or not, this has actually been like my first toy purchase. And when did we film our last episode? 3 weeks ago? Well, that doesn't sound terrible, but
yeah,
it's been my first toy purchase in like 3 weeks. So yeah, depending on what the bank account says tomorrow after the rent comes out, last day I might hit up that sale and see what's going on. I gotta do my finances, but here's hoping.
All right. So I'm going to hammer out a few non-Ninja Turtle related things for the tail end of this miscellaneous episode. So with my last order from Big Bad Toy Store, besides the Ultimate ones, I got some G.I. Joes and stuff that we've already talked about. But some of the things where I didn't really have an episode where they would fit in is I got a couple of Godzilla figures, and these are from like Bandai. And I'll be curious what you think of these figures. Like, I like them, but like they're kind of weird because these are the kind of toys that for a long, long time here in North America you couldn't find Godzilla figures. That's what's so great about Super 7 having the license now is for the first time ever they're making characters easily accessible. Like the fact that I've got Gigan and Megalon and stuff. Yeah. That's great because you could never find those guys before. Mechagodzilla is one of the characters that I do have some previous versions of him, but they were always toys like this that were kind of, I used to call them just like hollow dog toys, but they're vinyl. Like it is a type of collectible toy. They have very limited articulation. The sculpts are nice, but yeah, they're just very lightweight. They don't move very much. And this one here is actually much smaller than I expected when I ordered it. I didn't know it was going to be this small when it showed up.
That's what she said. And also, that's not what I expected with this. Like, it's super light.
Yeah, because he's all hollowed out.
Yeah.
And, like, he only has, like, about 3 or 4 points of articulation. It's, like, he looks really nice on a shelf, but it just feels cheap.
Yeah.
Now, fortunately, this guy was cheap. Like, he was only $19.99 American, so that's close to $30 Canadian. So he's not like cheap, but I'm not going to sweat $30. Like, that's not too bad. And he looks nice, but now that Super 7 is making the reactions, which I'm buying, and the Ultimates, which I'm buying some of, this guy is just kind of an odd scale. Like, I don't really know where he fits in my collection at this point in time. I don't know if I should have bought him or not, but again, when he was $19.99, I was just like,
well, I mean, as a Godzilla fan, you want to get everything. But yeah, I'm kind of underwhelmed with it. It looks cool.
Yeah, it's a nice sculpt.
So I'm guessing the only points of articulation are the head, tail, and arms.
Yeah, I don't think the legs move at all. I mean, he might swivel at the waist. I don't know. Probably not.
Nope.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They're not really meant to ever. When it's a vinyl figure, oftentimes vinyl figures are either completely static or maybe they just move with the arms. So, it is a nice sculpted figure, but it's a weird size because if I put it next to even my like NECA Godzilla figures, he's going to be like undersized. If I put him next to my reaction figures, he's going to be huge. If I put him next to my like Super 7 figures, he's going to be way undersized. So he's almost just kind of just an orphan on my Godzilla shelf. Except for he has one buddy to be next to it, and that's the other figure I bought. So I got this King Ghidorah, and again, this guy moves like not at all. This guy is completely static. There's no articulation on this guy. He's hollow too. He's not as lightweight as that guy just because there's so much plastic. He's got a lot of surface area with these wings and the tails and the 3 heads. But this guy here, he was also only $19.99 American, so about $30 Canadian or so. And the thing is, like, King Ghidorah is one of my like favorite characters, and I've never had a toy of him except for this little teeny one. It was the only thing I had in my collection for a long time. And even now, I've recently got versions from Super 7, which in the reaction style, which is only like 4 inches, and I got one from Mezco in their 5 points line. He's about 5 or 6 inches, but he's still small. And I just would like a Ghidorah figure that's a little bigger, a little bit more impressive on my shelf. Plus, this is the first one that I've ever had the opportunity to buy that's based on the modern legendary movies. All the other ones I have, all the little ones are based on the Toho movie, so he's a little goofier looking. Anyway, what do you think?
I mean, for a static figure, it's pretty cool. I like that they do. Is that a translucent eyeball?
I doubt it.
There is an eyeball there.
Well, I think they get yellow paint on the eyes.
Which is nice, yeah, but I mean,
like, the paint work's a little lazy.
It reminds me of one of those cheap dinosaur toys from when you were a kid, like all the hard plastic ones.
Like, you can go to the dollar store and find something kind of this quality of like a T-Rex or a Stegosaurus in a bin, and you pay like $2 for it. So that's kind of the level of quality these are. It's just, unfortunately, he wasn't $2. Yeah. But like the paint, like you see how his arms are a separate piece, like of plastic. You can see a seam where they were attached, and there's a paint on the arms, and then it just stops dead where the plastic breaks or the seam. So like it's a very unnatural.
And it's like a lighter shade. It looks weird that it's not the same sort of yellow.
Yeah, but like I do like this figure.
Yeah,
I'm not going to complain about it for the price I paid. He does look cool. But it is what it is. There's another figure from the company called Haya. I think I might have showed you that one. It's a legendary style King Ghidorah, much bigger, much more articulated, a little pricey, but for what it is, it's actually a very good price. It's the kind of thing I would expect to be like maybe $300 US, but instead it's only like $100 US. So it's still expensive for me, but I think I'm getting it. I have it pre-ordered. I've debated on canceling it a couple of times. But, yeah, I think once I get that guy in my collection, this thing will probably be redundant. But on the off chance I do cancel that one or whatever, this is a nice placeholder, if nothing else.
And while we're on the top, is that the last thing you have?
No, I got a few other things.
While we're on the topic of Godzilla, quickly, that new Godzilla -1 figure that goes up for pre-order tomorrow looks amazing.
Yeah.
I don't have any Godzilla figures. I only recently got into Godzilla after you showed me Shin Godzilla.
We watched your first... Well, you've seen the legendary ones.
I've seen the
new ones, the Monsterverse ones.
Yeah.
And you've seen Matthew Broderick's.
Matthew Broderick's.
98. But yeah, so I showed you your first Toho Godzilla movie the other day. So we started with the most recent one, Shin Godzilla. If it wasn't so late tonight, I would actually suggest we go watch Godzilla 2000, but maybe we'll do that sometime in the coming weeks. But yeah, what did you think?
Loved it. Like, I thought it was funny how you warned me, because we watched it with subtitles. We watched it in Japanese with English subtitles. Mm-hmm. And I watch a lot of anime, so I'm good at reading the subtitles and seeing everything. But it was just so busy on the screen because it's talking about like their plan at the bottom, and then at the top it's like such and such location, and this is the director of like Tokyo Safety and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and they had like all these government agencies, so you're trying to see who's who and read what they're saying. It was just like super fast. I thought it was good. I
love Shin Godzilla. He's
freaky too.
He is. He's a little scary looking in that one.
Not at the start.
No,
he looks like a doofy, fishy fish.
But he evolves into a pretty scary version of Godzilla. And the movie is all about the bureaucracy and all, like, so it's all these different government departments, and it edits so quick. And like you said, it'll list the name, like the Department of Defense plus the guy's name, and plus what he's saying on the phone. And so there's subtitles for the Japanese text, and it's just, you're reading up here and down the side and across and it's like, it's a lot of reading, and it flies by. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
All I remember is Rando Yamaguchi. That's it. That's the main character's name. I guess that's all I need to know.
You're doing better than me. I don't remember any of the characters.
Yeah, so super cool. I'm excited because I don't have Godzilla toys, so I'm looking forward to buying.
Yeah, so
December 1st.
-1 comes out in theaters in North America tomorrow. Unfortunately, we live in a kind of a small city of Halifax, and it's not playing anywhere in our city.
That we know.
Well, they usually list I've checked the show times. It's not. They might release it in a week or two down the road, but yeah, we're not getting it on release day, which sucks.
I did look at Toronto and Ottawa, and they also don't have it tomorrow. So
yeah, well, I'm definitely not going to Toronto to see a movie anyway.
No.
But anyway, so he's got a new design.
Yeah.
Every time there's a new Godzilla movie, he kind of gets a new design, and Super 7 revealed just the other day this new Ultimates figure that goes up for pre-order tomorrow when we're filming this. So December 1st, it goes up on pre-order, and yeah, it looks incredible.
Yeah.
Now the problem is they've ruined a lot of their goodwill, because I don't know if you looked at any of the comments.
No.
What we talked about with the Super 7 stuff and all the pre-orders is this figure. I'll put a picture of it here, but it really does look amazing. I think it's one of the nicest looking Godzilla figures I've ever seen. And you can tell it looks like it's a sculpt, like it's not just a digital computer render. And yet all the comments underneath of it are like, let's see if the final product looks this good. Or like, yeah, I'll wait. I'm not pre-ordering until I see it in hand. Like, everybody's skeptical that Super 7 will actually produce something that looks as good as the image they're trying to sell us. So, I get it. I get their skepticism, but it does kind of suck that Super 7 has that reputation of not really delivering what they promised.
And at that price point, I mean, you really gotta
deliver. I don't know how much it's going to be, but their other Godzilla Ultimates have been like $85 for the Godzillas, and they get higher for the larger figures. So I'm guessing minimum $85 US, which for us is probably closer to like 110 plus shipping and all the other stuff. So yeah, if we're going to shell out that money, I want something good to show up. But anyway,
I'll pre-order.
Yeah, I probably will too. I'm not sure if it's going to be available at all the retailers, because I saw somewhere because you had to go to Godzilla.com for the reveal.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's going to be exclusive to the Godzilla store. Like, you might have to order through Godzilla.com. And in which case, then yeah, I probably will pre-order. If it was available everywhere, then I wouldn't be as worried about missing out on it. Mm-hmm. But if it's exclusive to one location, yeah, it might be a good idea to pre-order. Anyway, so I got time for maybe run through a couple other quick things.
Yeah.
Okay, so a couple other random things before we wrap up. So this is kind of an odd one for me. You've already seen it, but I got the Chun-Li figure from Jada's Street Fighter line. And you know me, I'm not a big video game guy at all. I don't have any of the current systems. Even the systems I do have, like, I don't ever play them. But, you know, I liked video games when I was, like, younger. And I was the perfect age when, like, Street Fighter and Street Fighter 2, like, first came out and made a big splash. And I have a real soft spot for all those characters. Much more so than I do, like, the Mortal Kombat characters.
Yeah.
And I just really like some of those designs. And I have a couple of Street Fighter figures in my collection from years ago. I have Blanca and Cammy, Cammy, which are two of my like favorite characters. Chun-Li is another one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. So Jada just recently started doing these figures. And these are the same guys that do those Universal Monster figures, which I've been buying a couple of. And I was pretty impressed with them. And again, the price is right. Like, compared to all the expensive figures I buy nowadays, like, this figure is really articulated. She's got some nice accessories. She came in a really cool packaging that looked like an arcade console. Yep. And it was still, like, cheaper than most Marvel Legends and stuff.
And, like, the face sculpt is really nice. I played the Street Fighter games growing up. I was a fan of them. Mm-hmm. My roommate is a huge Street Fighter nut that has, like, a couple characters. He's the guy that, we might have talked about it on here before. He used to own a comic shop. He opened it up. The articulation on this is great. Like, this isn't meant to sound weird. It's probably going to come out weird, but she's super loose, and, like, look how easily she can go into a sidekick pose. Like, that was very little effort.
Well, this is one of her kind of cool accessories. Is she comes with, because if you're familiar with the game, they all have these signature moves, and she has like this kick where it's like a rapid fire, like tick, 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 and it's got this kind of effect. So she comes with this triple effect where you can put her boot in there, and it looks like she's doing the like triple kick, and you can put her foot up in the highest, any one of them. And it's a pretty effective accessory. It helps her stay upright, and it's pretty cool.
But like, it's super easy to get her into that sidekick pose, and one of the things that I'm interested in is I've never seen a Jada toy like in hand, and they are releasing the first wave of the Mega Man figures, and I have had those pre-ordered for probably about 6 months now, and they're scheduled to come out in December.
I really like the plastic.
Yeah,
and they use like. I did a video a while back, which has gotten quite a lot of views, and I still get a lot of comments on it to this day, where I compared Jada's Universal Monsters to NECA's. And almost everybody that comments on it says, like, how is this even a comparison? Like, NECA is clearly the better figure. And I agree in most aspects. They have better sculpting for sure, better accessories, all that sort of stuff. But I just personally, I'm not as drawn to action figures that have that, like, matte finish that NECA figures have. I like the kind of plasticky toy looking.
Yeah.
And like G.I. Joe's and Marvel Legends, that's what this has. It looks like a toy. Those NECA ones and McFarlane ones and stuff, they tend to feel a little bit more like collectibles intended to be not handled. And this feels like a toy.
Well, would you consider me a martial artist, or would I be like a former martial artist? Because I haven't trained recently. But I've never seen you do any third-degree black belt. So
yeah, I've never seen you do anything martial arty before. But
so, I mean, for me, like this pose is very accurate to a sidekick in Taekwondo. Like, I'm gonna sound nerdy here, but your toes are pointed out, your foot is bent on an angle. It's a great pose.
Do you want to do one? We can.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm okay. But yeah, no, I like that, and that makes me really excited for the Mega Man ones that are coming out this month.
Cool figure. And besides the kick thing, she also has an alternate head where she's yelling, so you get the good angry face. And I've got her with fists, but you can give her like karate chop hands. Yeah. So those are all great accessories. It's everything she really needs.
I will say, I was curious about this line, so I went on Big Bad Toy Store and looked, and the only other one they have right now, I think, is Ken. And I wasn't too fond of his head sculpt. Like, he looks kind of derpy-ish.
I haven't really looked at their Ken, but she looks great.
Yeah.
So
I'm a fan of her.
Yep. Anyway, moving on. Alright, so the last thing, I still have like 7 figures, but I'm going to go through this very quickly. I really like Super 7's reaction figures, which are the simple, like 5 points of articulation figures. And they must have been popular enough because other companies started to get in on it. Hasbro started making reaction figure style Marvel Legends, which they called like Marvel Retro, I guess. And then Star Wars started doing, Hasbro again did some Star Wars figures in the retro style with the big retro sticker on the card and everything. And I like those figures, but again, it's hard to justify the price point of them because they are like $25 for a pretty simple little figure. So with the Marvel ones, I started out just buying my favorite characters. Yeah. But then they started showing up at dollar stores and for $5, which is a great deal. And so I started buying them all up. So now I start getting all kinds of characters that I wouldn't classify as my favorites, like Falcon or Phoenix. But my collection has grown quite a bit because I got them at the dollar store. And for that, once I got a pretty big collection, I wanted to complete it because there isn't that many figures in the line. There's only about like 50 or less. And I've probably got 35 of them. So it's like, well, I kind of want to get those remaining figures.
And then they shut it down.
Yeah, the line is discontinued for the foreseeable future anyway. So that's the thing. Once it's finite, and I have so close that, the collector in me just wants to finish it. So I keep hoping that I'll be able to find all the figures I need at the dollar store, but every time I go to the dollar store, it seems to be the same wave of figures. It's like a middle wave. They don't have the latest stuff or the earliest stuff. So I don't expect I'm going to find any of the characters I needed. Anyway, they are for sale on Big Bad Toy Store for a pretty good price too. Like they're for sale for about $6, but that's still American $6. So it's about $10 Canadian. So
I mean, it's still cheaper.
It's still better than the $25 they retailed for here originally. But the problem is I always buy stuff on Big Bad Toy Store with their pile of loot function, which means I can pile things up, and once I get enough stuff to save shipping, I ship them all together, which is a great function that Big Bad does. But what's annoying is they don't let you do that with sale items. So these Marvel Legend figures are on sale, and I'm like, okay, so it's only cost me $6, but then it costs $30 to ship it. And I very rarely buy anything like off the cuff like that, because almost everything on Big Bad I pre-order it in advance. So even though I've got like 6 things in my pile of loot, they won't let me add this $6 item to my pile of loot. I either have to buy it separately. It's a pain in the ass. So I haven't been able to buy these things for months. But then they had this big sale on the Ultimates figures. So when I was buying Slash, and they said, okay, you have to pay for them and ship them today, but anything else that was current in stock, I could put into that shipment. So I was like, this is my chance to go buy some more of those cheap Marvel figures for, sale prices. So I got Iron Man, both his standard red and yellow and his blue stealth armor. So these guys both came out in like Wave 1 and Wave 2. These are some of the early figures. So we're not going to waste a bunch of time talking about them.
They're like reaction figures. They're small, they're cute, they're charming.
They are. They're very charming. And then I also got Captain America with his little shield. And the repaint of him, which is the U.S. agent with his little shield. So, yeah, I knocked these 4 guys off on my collection, so I'm that much closer to completing it. So, yeah, they're fun.
Super cool.
And when I first found out that these guys were showing up at our local dollar stores, it was through some of these Facebook groups I'm on. And people would be like, these are showing up at the dollar store. Make sure you check your local dollar store.
Fucking go quick.
And for weeks, I was hitting up all the dollar stores in the area, and I wasn't having any luck. And then all of a sudden, they were everywhere. And then same thing, a couple weeks ago, people started saying that these Star Wars retro figures are showing up at the dollar store.
Seen that.
So I started going looking for them. Couldn't find them anywhere. And then literally just today, about 3 hours ago, I went to the dollar store, and I found a few of them. So I got the Armorer from The Mandalorian. So, again, she comes on the nice kind of retro card. They kind of ruin it by putting this big gigantic sticker on that says retro. But
I like how, like, it's a clever marketing tool how they make the card look like it's worn.
Yeah. I know some people might like that. Well, probably a lot more people don't. But, and I know people, I don't know why anybody would like this sticker. I don't know what they're thinking. Like, initially when they started making these retro figures, they were reproductions of the old toys. So you would get Darth Vader and Chewbacca. And I think they were scared that people would try and pass these off as selling a vintage, 1980s figures still in package, which would fetch hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. And they didn't want to be accused of, screwing up the market for those vintage figures. So they put this big, god-awful, big orange sticker right over the picture that says retro. But when it comes to new characters like the Armorer, who never appeared...
It's not retro.
Yeah, she was never in the vintage line. So it's kind of redundant, and instead they just kind of screw up the packaging with that big sticker on there. So that's her. And then I got Ahsoka. So, she's cool. She comes with her little lightsabers there. Again, it's like the face sculpt's not very great or anything on these, but $5.
You need to do a close-up of this face.
Yeah, I'll do splicing shots. And lastly, excuse me, the Mandalorian himself in his Beskar armor. So, yeah. Now, it would have been nice, because the two that they... So there's 6 figures in this wave. I already had the Boba Fett. So I got Ahsoka, and I got the Armorer, and I got the Mandalorian and Beskar, but the two that they didn't have was the Imperial Death Trooper, which is basically a black stormtrooper, and the Bo-Katan. And those would probably have been the two that I would have wanted the most. So I'll have to keep checking my dollar stores for those 2 figures. But yeah, it was kind of a nice score to find these today for $5 a piece.
Mando's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I do like the fact that, because I love my old retro Star Wars figures. Like that Walrus Man figure with the orange bathing suit. Like, I love it. I still have it out on display. So it's cool that you can get new characters and display them with your old figures. Yeah, it's neat.
I like it.
Yeah, that's everything, I think, for this miscellaneous episode. So, anything more from you?
No, I think we can wrap this one up and...
All right, move on to the next one.
Move on to the next one. Which we are filming the same night, so again, we're not wearing the same clothes.
Yeah.
Next time.
All right, so thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button.
Leave us comments.
And, come back for the next episode, which will be up very shortly. So, ciao.
Keep collecting.